From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, tonight, some last-minute changes as the first AA football game of the season kicks off at Dallas Stadium. School District 2 overturns its policy and will now allow 2 family members from the visiting team to sit in the stands. And that begins tonight as the defending state champion Bozeman Hawks takes on Billings Senior Bronx. Q2's David J. is standing by live at Dallas with details. David, it sounds like the stands are going to fill up a bit more.
Just a little bit, and they were thinking that they'd be on the outside before this morning, at least the visiting fans, but a few more fans on the inside. They just finished up the JV game and had fans on the inside, and we're told by some at the activities office that it did work out fairly well. Joining us now is Mark Wall, the School District 2 Activities Director. And Mark, things were a little different this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of led up to the decision this morning?
Yeah, we've had events for the past couple of weeks, and we've kind of worked at seeing how we can manage these events, and we were a little concerned about how we were going to manage fans from Bozeman tonight who are outside of the stadium, and kind of felt like maybe it was a good idea to put them in the stands. It's wide open up there. And our experience with our fans over the last couple of weeks has been good. So we decided to go forward. We did talk with the other AA schools, and we decided to move forward with it.
And tonight a lot of students will be on the outside. Is there any chance in the future that they may get a chance to get on the inside?
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out how to manage this. These will be our first weekend of football and volleyball. And so if we feel we can manage these things, we might move up to 4 per participant. The student body is a little bit different situation because it's really hard to keep them distanced and face masks and that type of thing. So we'll be discussing that as we go, and hopefully things with COVID turn a little bit better as we go.
A lot more fans for this varsity game, but how did it look for the JV game here with the fans?
It was awesome. You know, it's the same with our soccer games, and fans have been respectful of the rules. And so I think that kind of prompted us to say, why not have them in there? It just makes common sense to get them in there. There's been a lot of frustration from the parents over the past couple of weeks, and believe me, we've heard their complaints and frustrations. But we also have to remember that we have to manage a COVID issue that could be fairly dangerous if we're not careful. So our goal is to keep the kids participating, and hopefully now with fans in, things will calm down and we'll get into a little bit of a good groove here.
Okay, great, thank you. That is Mark Wall, the School District 2 Activities Director. All the action gets started here at Dallas Stadium at 7 o'clock. We'll send it back to you, Jeanelle.
All right, Q2's David J. live from Dallas Stadium tonight for the first AA football game of the 2020 season. And for more details on today's changes, you can head to this story at KTVQ.com. Well, 2 more Montana deaths tied to COVID-19 today. The latest victim, the first death in Muscle County, a woman in her 70s, and another death yesterday in Rosebud County. The number of new confirmed cases today, 202. That's the second largest jump since the pandemic began. Yellowstone County reports the biggest increase today with 75. Now, there is a little good news in today's numbers. Although new cases spiked, active cases have dropped by 167. Governor Steve Bullock announces a new set of protocols today to help schools learn how to handle potential COVID-19 cases. Bullock says his office and a group of health experts worked on the guidance after he received requests from school nurses and educators. The protocols cover what symptoms to check for, when someone needs to be isolated or quarantined, and when they should be allowed to return to school. They also include advice for sports and extracurricular activities about what information can be released if someone tests positive.
It is important that the public knows when a student or staff member tests positive in school. And we're working on how we can make sure that parents and staff have the information that they need while also protecting the privacy of individual students and teachers.
Bullock also announced additional funding for COVID relief programs. Now that includes another $25 million for Montana nonprofits and more grants for Montana meat processors. Well, after less than a month of distribution in Montana, the $400 Lost Wages Assistance Program from the federal government has ended. Since the last week of August, Montanans had received an additional $400 in unemployment benefits. The program was created by an executive order from President Trump to assist individuals who had lost their job as a result of the pandemic. Well, in those weeks, jobless Montanans received about $59 million total. Vice President Mike Pence will touch down in Bozeman next Monday in support of Senator Steve Daines. Now, the event is free and open to the public, but people must RSVP and reserve a ticket to attend. In a statement from Senator Daines, he said he's thrilled to welcome the vice president back to Montana. Well, Pence and other top Trump officials will also attend a private fundraiser on Monday. Well, another lawsuit has been filed by Montana Republicans to block the use of all-mail ballots for the November 3rd general election. Now, the suit, filed Wednesday in federal court, comes a week after the Trump presidential campaign and several GOP groups filed a similar lawsuit. U.S. District Judge Dana Christensen of Missoula has consolidated the two suits. He'll hold a hearing September 22nd on the request. Election officials in 46 of Montana's 56 counties are already preparing to mail ballots to all registered voters on October 9th. Today's lawsuit claims that voters in all mail ballot counties will have an unfair advantage for voting over citizens in other counties. Well, with the election less than 2 months away and the big races still too close to call, it is time once again to talk politics. MTN's lead reporters and political insiders will do just that tonight at 6:30 on a special Facebook Live edition of MTN Politics 2020 Vote. Veteran anchor and reporter Q2's Jay Cohn is joined by MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison, Democratic consultant Eric Stern, and Republican insider Ashley Strong. Now, how are the races shaping up for U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and Governor? Who has the upper hand? Well, the experts are going to weigh in. This is your invitation to join in that conversation again tonight at 6:30 on the KTVQ Facebook page. Well, a former Billings and Indian Health Services doctor admits to prescribing a diabetes medication in exchange for $45,000 in kickbacks. 68-year-old Dr. Arnold Scott DeVoe pleaded guilty to charges of conflict of interest today. Court documents state DeVoe was in charge of the diabetes program with Indian Health Services in Browning for 6 months. In that time, he solicited multiple Montana pharmacies to fill prescriptions in exchange for a cut of the profits and kickbacks. He faces a maximum of 5 years in prison. His sentencing date is set for December 10th. Well, Billings is getting a big boost to help make two major projects come to life. Announced today, the city has been awarded $11.6 million in federal build grant funds. Now, those funds from the U.S. Department of Transportation will fully construct the Inner Belt Loop and the Skyline Trail. Now, the Inner Loop will connect Billings Heights with West Billings, and the Skyline Trail will connect Swords Park with Zimmerman Park, providing around 7 miles of continuous trail. Now, the build grant will be supplemented with $7 million in local funds and an $85,000 donation from Billings TrailNet. Billings Mayor Bill Cole thanked Montana's congressional delegation and community partners, saying, quote, "This is a day we have been hoping and praying for years." Up next on tonight's 5:30 News, add a little zest to your kitchen. We'll take you to a new store with gadgets galore. And tonight in sports, exciting night for high school football as Class AA opens its regular season. Scott joins us on site at Dallas.
And coming up in weather, we got maybe some showers, maybe 1-2 states away from us, but it could be coming back. We'll chat about that coming up in a few more minutes.